Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to test my lung capacity with the top 50, yes, 50 cool cars, sports cars pretty much, for less than $10,000. Recently, you guys absolutely, positively blew up the channel, and we now have 50,000 subscribers. And in celebration of 50,000 subscribers, I decided to do a top 50. I did one for the 40,000 subscriber one, literally just like a month ago. Yes, that's how fast we're growing. Thank you so much. So now we're going to do one for the 50K subscribers special, I guess. A couple disclaimers before we start this video. Number one is I'm not saying that all of these cars are great like choices for a first car. I want to make that very clear. A lot of these cars will not be. And next thing I want to mention is a couple of these cars, only a very small number of them though, are going to be very hard to find under $10,000. So I want to make that incredibly clear right now. Don't expect it to be like a cakewalk for some of these cars, okay? And that's pretty much it. I mean, oh, another big disclaimer I want to really quickly put out there because people seem to somehow not realize this. I am one guy, I am 22 years old, and I have a laptop, okay? I do the research for these videos and I try my best to get it accurate, but I obviously make mistakes. I am looking up 50 different cars right now, and so obviously there's going to be a mistake or two. If you notice a mistake that I make, please, for the love of God, just leave a comment down below. I really don't want to be spreading misinformation here, but I also don't want to have to deal with a bunch of angry people saying, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Are you kidding me? Actually, the Audi A5 doesn't come with 285 horsepower. It comes with 284, you idiot. I don't want to deal with that. So if I make a mistake, just let me know nicely, man. But no more wasting your time. Let's get right into it with the number 50 spot. All right, so obviously we are going to be rocketing through these. Each car is only going to get around 30 seconds of screen time. So sorry if I don't go into too much detail with each car, but anyway, coming in at number 50, which feels crazy to say, is the mediocre Pontiac Fiero GT. This little pocket rocket comes with a 2.8 liter V6, making it very decent for a size, 140 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. They were also mid-engine, so it does have a little bit of snap oversteer. You know, that never hurt though. You know, a little snap oversteer just builds character. So be careful if this is your first car or if you're inexperienced. Also, I am going to be making a video all about the Pontiac Fiero GT and what makes it so great tomorrow, so subscribe if you want to see that. Next at the number 49 spot is going to be the Subaru Brat, a car that honestly gets no love for no reason, and it kind of makes me upset, to be honest. It comes with a very small 1.8 liter flat four, making an incredibly small 73 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive actually, which is pretty cool. But this thing is just for the guy who wants to go around, drive an El Camino, but from Japan. They aren't fast, they don't have tons of aftermarket support, they're not that reliable, but they are baller as hell. It's a freaking Subaru Brat. Number 48 is going to be the Scion TC second generation, which a lot of you guys like this car on the channel because I made a deep dive all about the Scion TC, and then a bunch of you guys subscribed to the channel because of that. But I hate to break the news to you, they aren't the best, okay? They come with a 2.4 liter inline four, making 179 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive. And it actually isn't that slow, especially not as slow as people say it is, but it definitely isn't one of the faster cars on this list. However, they do come with a Camry motor, so you know damn well they're going to be reliable, and in my opinion, they can look very decent. Number 46 is going to a daily driver with a little bit of a bonus to it, my friend. It is the Ford Mother Truckin' Ranger, baby. This truck has an absolute cult following, and to be honest with you, I totally understand it. They come with a 4 liter V6, making a pretty good, actually, 207 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive until you turned it into the 4x4 mode, because it's a 4x4 truck, and it was great. Once again, if you want to go off-road with a very reliable truck, this is one of the best options, hand down, for you. I just don't really see, like, the mass appeal behind the looks of it, if that makes any sense. Number 45, baby, and it is the wonderful Volvo 240, another car that has a little bit of a cult following, and I know you guys absolutely love this thing. Every time I mention the Volvo 240, you guys go nuts, but to be honest, I really don't understand why. It comes with a 2.4 liter inline four, making only 114 horsepower, but it was rear wheel drive, so that's pretty fun. Also, when it was released, it was an incredibly safe car, don't get me wrong, but nowadays, not so much. But if you want to learn how to drift and work on a car and just everything that you need to know about a car, this is a great platform for it. They're very forgiving. Next at the number 44 spot is going to be a little bit of a cheat code, but I had to put it somewhere because they just truly are amazing for their price. It is literally any street bike ever. As long as it's a 600 or even a 1000cc, you're set for an absolutely great time. As long as you don't crash, or if you live somewhere where winter is a thing, or it's raining outside, or you don't have another vehicle, or you like to drink alcohol, or you don't know how to ride a bike, or you don't know how to drive a manual transmission, or someone else doesn't hit into you, then this is such a fun choice. Like, there's really nothing wrong with buying a street bike. Next up at number 43, however, is going to a car that I will get a lot of hate for not putting it a lot higher, but hear me out, all right? It is the Mazda Miata NA or NB. The NB is a great choice, by the way. This car is just an amazing choice for someone who just wants to have a fun canyon carver. But besides that, it really isn't great. It comes with a 1.8 liter inline-4, making a very nice for its size, 135 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. And now, like I said before, they are super fun to drive if you know how to drive them. But not everybody likes that style of driving, so they're definitely not for everybody. Make sure you figure out what it is that you enjoy driving and go with that. Don't just buy a Miata because everybody else is saying they're a fun car to drive. Number 42 is going to the new Infiniti M45. I say new, I meant like new to the channel. I just started talking about this car, which I actually just made a what makes it great on, and you guys absolutely loved it. It's almost at 100,000 views already. So hello, all M45 owners. Thank you for being here. But in my opinion, they're just not the best for under 10K. They come with a 4.5 liter V8, making a very nice 340 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And yes, that is insanely high horsepower for this list, but it's also very heavy, and it's also apparently quite unreliable too. So it's not as great as it seems, but they are a super underrated platform, don't get me wrong, they're very luxurious. Number 41 though, which ironically that's exactly how much battery percentage I have left on this GoPro battery, is going to another tuner car that once again doesn't get enough love, like at all. It is the Dodge Neon SRT4, which kind of hurts to see the prices recently, but they're still a good platform for pretty cheap. They come with a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline-4, making a very good 230 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive. And the engine is actually incredibly good for making power, but they just don't really do it for me personally. I just don't like the looks of them. But everything else about them, very good. Reliable car, good on gas, good for power, good car. Barely sneaking its way into the top 40 is going to be the Honda Odyssey 2nd generation. Yes, I know it sounds crazy that I'm telling you to buy a damn Odyssey, and I also just said that these are fun cars, but hear me out. They come with a 3.5 liter V6, making a very good 255 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive, unless you got the all wheel drive version, and they're just so practical. Plus, it's a damn Honda, so you could make this fast if you want to, and it'll still be reliable while carrying all the boys around it. That's where the fun lies in this car. It's not going to be fun in a straight line, but it's going to be, you're going to make so many fun memories in it. Number 39 is going to another car that is kind of just a little bit too dangerous to recommend it any higher. It is the Toyota MR2 SW20, or the 2nd generation, which I will admit is an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous car, but not when you're wrapped around a tree. It comes with a 2 liter inline-4, making 173 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And just like the Fiero GT, it was mid-engined, so it has lots of snap oversteer. I put this higher though than the Fiero because in my opinion it looks a lot better, it has better aftermarket support, and they're a little bit more reliable. Number 38 is going to the wonderful BMW 325i E30, which I personally just love so much, but I have to admit it's not the best car out there, to be honest. They come with a 2.5 liter inline-6, making a okay 170 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And they just look so like classic, bro. Like, come on, this thing is so beautiful. Sure, it's very old and it's not the best daily anymore, but you will look like an absolute baller and get to have so much fun in this car since it's rear wheel drive. Amazing. If you want to look like a retro like TikTok boy, this is your car. Number 37, however, is going to the Subaru Forester 2nd generation, which if you know this channel, you know how much I love the Forester. It blows me away. I don't understand why I love them so much, but they're just so cool to me. They come with a 2.4 liter flat 4, making only 165 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive. And this car was absolutely not meant to be like fast in any way, but it's meant to go wherever you want it to go and do it reliably. And it does that so damn well. They're just such a baller mobile, and I want one so bad for literally no reason. Probably one of my favorite Subarus, to be honest. Number 36 though is going to the very underrated Porsche 944, one of the only Porsches you can get under $10,000, and to be honest, it isn't that great, but at the same time, it's a damn Porsche, so how bad can it get? It comes with a 3 liter inline-4, making a very decent 205 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And by the way, that is some big displacement for an inline-4. I just want to put that out there, like 3 liter inline-4, that's a big inline-4. By the way, they look cool, handle very well, are very cheap, so they're just not that fast, that's it. Next up at the number 35 spot, kind of suffers the same fate as the Porsche, but it's just a little bit cheaper. It's the Nissan 240SX S13. You can also get it clapped S14 under $10,000, but I just don't recommend it. It comes with a 2.4 liter inline-4, making 144 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive, obviously, since every drift boy in the world wants one of these cars. But since they all want one of these cars, they are very overpriced. They look really cool though, and they do handle amazingly, but good God, they are not worth 10K. So if you find one for 10K, and you're like, well, it's really clean, it doesn't matter. It's not worth it. Wait until you find a good deal. Number 34, my good friend, is such a beast of a car once you modify this freaking thing, but nobody talks about it, and it makes me upset. It is the wonderful Audi S4 B5, which is an absolute monster. It comes with a 2.7 liter twin turbocharged V6, making a very big, especially for its time, 240 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive. And yes, that power isn't like insane in today's standards, but the car is very light, has Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive system. They look incredible. They were built in the 2000s. They're very unreliable, but who cares? The only bad part is that. Like, that's the only bad part, is that they're unreliable. Number 33, however, is very reliable, but it's nowhere near as fast as the Audi. It is the Honda Prelude 5th generation. You can get a damn SH for under $10,000 too, but I would just go with the base model, to be honest. They're a lot cheaper. They come with a 2.2 liter inline-4, making 197 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive, of course, and they are reliable as hell. They look really good, in my opinion, especially for a Honda, and they have tons of aftermarket support since they are a Honda to make it even faster. All of that you can get for like incredibly cheap too. One of the best platforms for a like high schooler, easily. Love it. Number 32 is another vehicle for one of you off-roading gents, or maybe even one of you blue-collar worker boys. It is the Chevy Silverado 1500 Cateye, which is a pick-em-up truck that has the highest possibility of getting a DUI. Did you know that? I bet you didn't, but it's hilarious. Silverado owners love to drink and drive. They come with a 5.3 liter V8, making 285 horsepower, and it was 4x4 or rear-wheel drive, obviously, because it's a truck. You put it in 4x4 mode, then it's 4x4, but if you don't, it's rear-wheel drive. You get how it works. And I know not a lot of people like the Cateye generation of Silverado, but they are an absolute bargain deal. If you can get over the looks and you need a work truck, it's a good deal. Number 31 is going to the Mercedes SL600, which is one of the cars that are going to be incredibly hard to find under 10K. I want to make that very clear. But once you do, holy moly, they are insanely worth the price. They come with a massive 6-liter V12, making a ridiculous 394 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. But the big downside to this car is it was not available in a manual transmission, only automatic, which does suck, but it makes up for it in speed. And also, I just want to make this, I mean, you should be able to tell this by yourself, but if not, here you go. They're not reliable, okay? They're not. Barely making its way into the top 30 is going to be the Volkswagen GTI Mark IV, one of my favorite hatchbacks ever, period, and it sucks that it gets no love really nowadays. Deserves all the love. It comes with a 1.8 liter turbocharged inline-4, making 170 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive, and it looks incredible in my opinion. They also can make tons more horsepower if you tune them correctly, but then the reliability kind of goes out the window, so you know, pick your poison there. But they're fun nonetheless, and they got all the space that you would ever need. Coming in at the number 29 spot, oh, almost messed up that word, is going to the wonderful Acura TL 3rd generation, one of the best daily drivers for under $5,000 right now, and don't tell me I'm wrong, because they just are. The car comes with a 3.2 liter V6, making a very nice 258 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive. They are actually kind of fast for a Honda, to be honest, and they look incredible, and they're incredibly comfortable because they're an Acura, not a Honda. So in my opinion, it's just an amazing choice for under 5K as a daily driver. The only bad part is it doesn't have like the Honda tunability. Number 28 is going to the underrated ass Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX 2nd generation, or 2G, whatever you want to call it. Yes, that's right, these cars are still kind of cheap, and it blows me away too, to be honest. It comes with a 2 liter turbocharged inline-4, making a nice 210 horsepower, and unlike the base model, this one was all-wheel drive. Also, that engine is actually a gosh darn 4G63, which if you know JDM cars, that means you know this thing is the same motor that was found in the Evo. That's pretty much a freaking budget Evo for under 10K. What could you ask for? Number 27 is going to an absolutely wonderful American car that people call a muscle car, but I don't know why they would call it a muscle car. It doesn't really make much sense. It is the Ford Mustang GT New Edge, which I always manage to get the engine size wrong somehow. So here we go. Let's give it a shot this time. It's a 4.6 liter V8 making 215 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive. That time I know I got it right, so I better not see anybody tell me I'm freaking wrong. But this is one of the best muscle cars under 5K, period. I don't think it's a muscle car. It looks like a freaking sports car. I don't care that it has a V8 under the hood. It looks like a sports car. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Number 26 though is going to a banger of a hatchback, and that's saying a lot because I usually don't like hatchbacks. It is the MazdaSpeed 3. It's one of my personal favorite hatchbacks out there, period. And they are just amazing. They come with a 2.3 liter turbocharged inline-4, making a very nice 263 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive. And that power number is actually kind of incredible for a gosh darn hatchback, especially for when this thing was built. It's not like a new hatchback. It's a little bit old now, and it's still at 263 horsepower. That's great. Usually these things come with like 200 horsepower, and people call them fast. So good job, Mazda. Number 25, exactly halfway through this list, is the wonderful Honda Civic Si 6th generation, which is the EK generation. And this car, man, it's just so darn good, but sadly, they are kind of getting ridiculously overpriced right now. They come with a 1.8 liter inline-4, making a very decent for its size, 160 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive. And this car is in no way fast in a straight line, but once you take her to the twisties, or if you add a cheap eBay turbo to it, it's going to be fun as hell. Number 24, though, my good friend, is going to the incredibly sexy Mitsubishi 3000 GT, which is so slept on within the car community, but it is starting to kind of get the love that it deserves, so I take that back a little bit, but it's still pretty slept on. They come with a 3-liter V6 making 170 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive. And now stock, these things are pretty boring, to be honest with you, and they're not that quick at all. But once you modify them, they can go just like absolutely super speed. They also look just incredible and have some of the most incredibly advanced tech on them for the 90s, so that's a huge plus. Number 23, though, is going back to the land of Germany real quick to talk about the Mercedes E55 AMG W210, which is an incredibly long name, and it's also one of the ones that are going to be hard to find under $10,000 for sure, but can be done. They come with a freaking 5.5 liter supercharged V8, making a ridiculous 349 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. And I have to say, in the car community, we do not talk about Mercedes enough. Like, these old Mercedes are something worth talking about, baby. Like, that is an incredible car for under 10K, but nobody cares. Number 22, however, is a car that gets plenty of love in the car community. It is the wonderful Nissan 300ZX Z32. Please stop selling them for freaking 8K so I can buy one. I am begging you. They come with a 3-liter V6 making 222 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. And now there really isn't anything super special about the Z32 that makes it so great, but they just look fantastic, and they're just like such a 90s car. It just like screams like, oh yeah, I'm a cool dude. Besides the 350Z, I think these look the best out of all the Z cars, period. Number 21 is going to one of the most slept on cars from Germany of all time, the BMW 540i E39. These things are absolutely insane, and they're only recently starting to get like some of the love that they deserve, but not even close to as much as they deserve. They come with a 4.4 liter V8 making a ridiculous 286 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And they may not look the best, I will be the first to admit it, but they are a damn BMW that was once the fastest sedan of all time, and now just nobody cares about them. Like, nobody wants to drive in these things, and that just makes me mad. Buy these over an E36. Barely squeezing its sexy little booty into the top 20 is going to my car's cooler brother, the Acura Integra GSR. I just bought a damn LS, so I can say why these things are cool finally, and I'm so happy about it. The GSR, though, comes with a 1.8 liter inline-4 making 170 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive, of course, and they just handle like a damn dream. Stock, they're not fast at all, but they come with a B series, so they can be way faster, but honestly, just take it to the twisties, lower it, put some stiff suspension on it, and have a blast. Number 19, my good pal, is going to the gosh darn Volvo S60R. The R stands for Raptor. I have been talking about this car quite a bit recently, and for good reason. They come with a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline-5, making a very nice 300 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive, which is just like butter on the biscuit there. I think that's the saying. I could be wrong. That sounds wrong now that I said it, but hopefully it's the right saying. But these cars are so slept on. If you want to make the cops confused when you roll by sounding like an AK-47 in a freaking Volvo, then this is a great choice. Number 18 is going to a car that is so like correctly priced, if that makes any sense. It is the Ford Focus ST. You can find them right under $10,000, and for once in my life, I think that is such a decent, like, well-balanced price for these cars. They come with a 2.2 liter turbocharged inline-4 making 252 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive, of course. And they aren't my personal cup of tea in terms of looks, but they can be very fast little fun tow game monsters that you can pick up all your freaking croissants in. All right, buddy? Number 17, however, is going to one of the most underrated JDM. Don't get me started. Don't say that technically is not JDM. Cars of all time. It is a Lexus GS300. Yes, I know it's not freaking technically JDM. All right. I know it's a Lexus and Lexus isn't JDM, but you know what I meant. They come with a 3-liter inline-6, making a very good 225 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. And now, before someone says, why wouldn't you get the IS300? It's the same thing but manual. Find me an IS300 manual under 10K. I'll wait. Number 16, however, is another Japanese car, but this time it is not rear-wheel drive or luxurious. It is a Subaru WRX Blobeye. It's my favorite generation WRX, but to be honest, most are under 10K, so let's go with whatever one that you like the best. They come with a 2.4 liter turbocharged flat 4, making 225 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive. They may have head gasket issues, but if you live somewhere where winter is a thing, they can be an absolute blast year-round and not have to worry about getting stuck, and that is a big plus. Like, yes, you might have to deal with a head gasket, but what's a little head gasket? Number 15 is going to the BMW 328i E36, one of the best drift platforms out there for sure, but I do think they are just heavily overrated. Everybody acts like this is like the best car under 10K right now. I would disagree. They come with a 2.8 liter inline six making 190 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive, but the reason I think they are overrated is just because people liked these cars because they were cheap. Now that they're like not that cheap anymore, they're just not the best choice, that's the word I was looking for. They're still a good choice, but they're just not the best choice if you want a like cheap little German drift missile. Number 14 is the exact reason that I said that about the E36, because it's the E46, specifically the BMW 330ci E46, which is still under $5,000 most of the time. I can't believe it, but they come with a 3 liter inline six making 225 horsepower, and they were rear wheel drive. They are literally so similar to the E46 M3, besides the engine, of course, that one kind of hurt, but they're literally so similar to the E46 M3 that it's just, if for under 5K, like that is a great deal. They are such a better platform than the E36 besides the subframe mounts, but nobody talks about the E46 because everybody just wants an E36. Number 13 is going to the Honda Accord Coupe 9th generation, which is such a good option for a high schooler who just wants to be safe but also have some speed and look cool that it blows me away that nobody talks about them. They come with a 3.5 liter V6 making 278 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive. And my Z has pretty much 278 horsepower, and sure, it is rear wheel drive, but trust me when I say this, that is more than enough for a high schooler. That's a decent amount of horsepower. Sometimes it's more than enough for my 22-year-old ass, so don't worry about not having like 400 horsepower yet in high school. Pick one of these up if you're a high schooler. Number 12 is going to another coupe, but this time it's from the land of Japan. Psych, I lied, it's from Korea, baby. It is the Hyundai Genesis Coupe. These puppies come with a 3.8 liter V6 making 270 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And this is literally the exact same as the Accord that we just talked about, except now it's rear wheel drive. So pick your poison. If you can drive a rear wheel drive car year round, go with this one. If you can't, go with the Honda. I personally think that this one looks a little bit better, but that is just me. And they're pretty much as reliable. I mean, the Genesis Coupe is a little bit less reliable, but if you find one with low enough miles, it shouldn't matter. Number 11, barely missing out of the top 10, is the Audi S4 B7. It's easily my favorite S4 out there, and yes, I like it even more than the damn B5. I know it's crazy, but hear me out, buddy. They come with a 4.2 liter V8 making 340 horsepower, and it was paired with Audi's amazing Quattro all-wheel drive system, so you know damn well, buddy, you ain't getting stuck in no snow. No snow. I really wanted to put this into the top 10, but it just didn't have a place for it, sadly. But just know that in the deepest of my hearts, this car is top 10 worthy. And that's why I said that about the Audi S4, my bad. It's because we're finally into the top 10, and these aren't technically the best 10 cars in my opinion, but I tried to keep everyone in mind, so every car here within the top 10 is the best car in their certain category for less than 10K. We're going to start it off with the Jeep Cherokee XJ. This thing comes with a 4 liter inline six, and it makes 177 horsepower, and it was 4x4 of course, and this is the best hands down for the off-road guys. If you just want to rip through trails and even find your own trails, buy one of these things. Number 9 is going to be the best daily driver that isn't just a boring ass Camry for a car guy. It is the Infiniti G37 Coupe. The reason I picked this daily is simple. They come with a 3.7 liter V6 making 330 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive or all wheel drive. So right off the bat, if you live somewhere where snow is an issue, just get the all wheel drive one. You have that choice, that's great. But now you also have a 370Z with more seats, so it's pretty quick. You also have a pretty good amount of luxury behind it. They also are reliable as hell, as one of the most reliable V6s ever made, to be honest, and still fast and cool looking when you want them to be. It's a perfect car guy daily. Number 8, however, is going to, in my opinion, the best straight line speed car, and I knew this one was going to be a little bit controversial, so I tried to pick as best as I could, and it is the Chevy Camaro SS 4th generation. This car comes with a damn LS1, my friends, which is a 5.7 liter V8, making a very nice 310 horsepower, but obviously that can be bumped up with very simple mods. They may not be the prettiest, far from it actually, they look like a catfish, but if you just want to beat your buddy in his daddy's BMW, this is the one to do it in. Yes. Number 6, however, is going to the best truck in my opinion, which is for the working boys and girls, and take this one with a little bit of with a grain of salt, because I really don't know much about trucks, but it is a Ford F-250 6.0. Do I sound cool now? Yeah, 6.0. They come with obviously a 6 liter turbo diesel V8, making a pretty small for its size, to be honest, 325 horsepower, but it makes ridiculous torque because it's a diesel. And once again, I'm not sure how great this truck is truly, but from what I've heard, these things are a very good deal right now. Finally into the top 5, the home stretch, baby, and we are starting it off with the wonderful Lexus SC400, which is in my opinion the best drift car to get your hands on under 5K. The only downside being it is an automatic, but who cares, just swap it with a manual. They come with a 4-liter V8 making a very nice 270 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. And now I know someone will say some stupid stuff like the IS300 or 240SX are better starter drift cars, and to that I say you're just wrong. You don't know what the 1UZ is, you don't know what the 1UZ is capable of. Simple as that. Number 4 is going to, in my opinion, the best tuner car for under $10,000 right now. It is the Acura RSX Type S. I almost said TSX, I don't know why. I love these things, and so does Marketplace because they're overpriced right now, but it makes sense. They come with a 2-liter inline-4 making a very nice 201 horsepower, and it was front-wheel drive, and the engine in that is a K-series, so you know the engine can make incredible amounts of power. And sure, other cars on this list can also make more power, but this one will be cheap and easy to do it on too, so it's just the best of all worlds, really. Cheap parts, easy labor, incredibly tunable engine. What more could you ask for? Third place finally, and it goes to my baby, the Nissan 350Z. In my opinion, the 350Z is just damn near perfect for its price range. By the way, these last 3, the top 3, are just the best in general to me, okay? They don't really fall into a certain category, they're just the best all around. They come with a 3.5-liter V6 making 306 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. And the only downside to the Z compared to the top 2 is going to be the power potential. They aren't the best for making power, but they are more reliable and they get better gas mileage, so it kind of makes up for it. Second place is going to, of course, the Chevy Corvette C5, an American car, which is very hard to find under 10K nowadays, but once you do, they are perfect, and I mean perfect. All right, buddy. They come with another LS. This time it's a 5.7-liter V8, but makes 350 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive as well. And the LS alone is so great that it deserves a spot, but the car itself is amazing. Handles like a monster, just an all-around amazing sports car, but just not the best for like daily driving, to be honest. But that's about it. The 350Z, in my opinion, was the best for under 5K. If I was forced to pick a car that was the best like around the 10K mark, it would be the C5 Corvette. But finally, first place, if you have been watching me for a while, you knew it was coming, but it is the BMW 335i E92, which is just literally perfect for less than $10,000 right now. I don't care what anybody says. All those BMW haters are going to be like, no, you're an idiot, it's unreliable. Don't care, buddy, don't talk to me. They come with a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline-6, making 300 horsepower exactly, and it was all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive. And I know that power isn't as good as the Vet, but it has the N54 in it, which means you can get significantly more power out of it for pretty cheap. This is also the only one in the top 3 that not only gives you the option to buy it in all-wheel drive, but it also has 4 seats, so that's a huge plus too. The only downside I can think of is, yes, they can be unreliable if you don't take care of them, so make sure to top that thirsty girl up with some oil every now and then, and you should be fine. Also, keep in mind that if you start to modify a motor, it's going to be more unreliable. Of course, we went this whole video, 50 entries without any interruptions, and right at the number 1 spot, I get a call on my phone. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the top 50 best, most fun cars you can buy for less than $10,000. The top 3 are honestly all interchangeable depending on what you want, so don't get too offended if the Corvette was your favorite and it's in the second spot. It all depends on what you want. The E92 is not going to be the fastest out of those 3. I think the Corvette would be the fastest out of those 3. But it's going to be the most practical also while being the fastest. That's why I put it as number 1. Also, I am like, literally, my mouth feels like the Sahara Desert right now because I just did all that in one go. I didn't take any breaks. I just went bop, 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 bop. I just like pretty much talked for like 45 minutes straight, I'm guessing. I don't know how long it was, but I am freaking exhausted. And can you believe that we went through that whole list? We read it back to back to back, no mistakes, just bang, 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 no mistakes, no redos or anything. And of course, on the last 10 seconds of the number 1 car, I get a freaking call on the phone. Can you fathom that? I can't fathom that. I can't do it. But anyway, guys, I think I'm losing my mind now because I'm like have a loss of air. So I'm gonna go do some photosynthesis, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Das Vidania. Have a nice night.